What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today I'll show you how to make these paper bag shorts. The things we need for this project are a sewing machine, 1 yard of striped fabric, elastic, tailor chalk, scissors, matching thread, and some pins. So let's get started. So I folded my fabric into 4 places, and then I left 2 inches extra for the back piece. So you fold your fabric like this, 1, and then you fold it again like this, and leaving an extra for the back corner. The next thing is to take the length of your shirt. I'm using 16 inches. And then I'll add 2 inches I'll add 3 inches for sewing allowance. And then I'll take the crouch measurement. I'm using 12 inches. And then on this line, I'll take the hip. You divide your hip measurement by 4. I have 10.5. And then I add 1 inch for allowance. And then I'm using 2 inches for the crouch measurement. So I'll come over to the top, and then I'll take the hip measurement again. So I have 10.5 and then 1 inch. So I took the hip measurements on the waist because I'm going to be using elastic. So on this place, I use 1 inch for the curve. And then I'll draw a line here like this, a curved line. And then I'll cut the top part. I'll cut the first 2 layers. So after cutting the front part, we'll extend the crouch by 2 inches. And then we extend the back panel by 1 inch. So I've marked mine. I extended it by 1 inch. And then I'll extend the back side on the top by 1.5. One and a half inch down, and then I'll cut. So this is what we have. So I'll cut the front from the back piece. And then I'll take 1.5 inch. I'll take 1/2 inch from the front piece. And then cut. So I cut 1/2 inch from the front part. So I've taken the front part and I'm going to cut the pocket. So I have 3 inches for the width and then 6 inches for the depth. So I have six here and 3 here. And then I'll draw a curved line here like this. So I'm going to cut across the yellow line. For the pockets, I've cut 10 inches and 9 inches for the width. 10 inches for the length, 9 inches for the width. And then I cut 4 pieces. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then I placed this two of the pieces, I placed it on my front panel. And then I cut out the pocket side, which is 3 inches by 6 inches. So I cut out 3 inches for the width and 6 inches for the length. So the next thing is to place the pockets facing, right side facing each other. And then you go over to your sewing machine, you sew it together like this or like this. So after joining the pockets facing, you top stitch. So you make a stitch on top the pocket facing. And then the next thing, remember we cut 4 pieces for the pockets. We'll take the other 2 pieces with the right side facing each other. We'll pin them together like this. We'll pin them together. So we are pinning both sides of the pocket together. So I've done the other side. And this is what I have. You pin it like this. Pin it like this. And then you go over to your sewing machine. You sew straight down and then down like this. So you do the same for the other side. You sew straight down and then straight down like this. So after sewing the pockets together like this, you go ahead and pin it to the shirt. You can stitch it with your sewing machine, but I'll just pin mine. I've done that for the right side or the left side. So you pin it. So when you're sewing, it doesn't move around. And then you go ahead and join the sides together. You go sew the 2 sides together. You also join the back panel together. You join the back sides together like this. I've pinned mine. I'll go ahead and stitch it. So here's what we have. And then you join the back panel to the front panel with the right sides facing each other. You join the sides together. You go ahead and sew straight down and straight down. So the next thing is to join the inner ties together. So you pin the crotch together and then you sew from here down to the other end. The next step is to take the measurement around the waist. So you measure it round. You measure it around. Careful for the pins. I have 45 inches. And then I've cut a piece from my leftover fabric. I measured 45 inches and added 1 inch of seam allowance. I didn't have enough fabric, so I had to join from the pieces. So I have 45 and then I have 1 inch for seam allowance. So I'll go over to my sewing machine. I'll join them together with the right side facing each other. So after joining the waistband, I went ahead to iron it, and then I pinned it to the shorts. I started pinning from the back where I have the stitch line, and then I pinned it around. So I'll go ahead and sew it together. But while I'm sewing, I'm going to leave about 2 inches for my elastic. So the next thing is to cut your elastic. So I've cut my elastic and I cut 34 inches, which is the size of my waist. And the elastic is 1 inch for the width. So I'm going to place it here to just mark where I'll be making the casing from. So you place it like this on your pants, and then you mark it. You mark it around, and then you sew on the marked line. So I've marked it around front and back. You sew the marked line. Next, you take your elastic. I've marked the front part. I just marked any side as my front piece so I don't twist it. And then you look for the opening. And then you insert the elastic. And then you go ahead and stitch the both sides together with your zigzag stitches. You stitch them together like this, and then you close the opening. So I've stitched it together, and then I'll just spread it evenly, and then go ahead to close the opening, and then hem the bottom. So this part is optional. I'll be making a belt loop, and I've measured 4 inch by 4 inch. So I have 4 inch width, 4 inch length. I've cut 4 pieces. I'll go ahead and sew it together like this. Sew all of them like this, and then flip them inside out. So I turned it inside out and I ironed it, and then I marked where I want the loop to be. So I've marked 4 places, 1, 2, and then 2 behind, that's 4. And then you stitch it together. Don't stitch it on the elastic, you stitch it on the top part, and then on the bottom part like this. Stitch it here and here. And then I did the same for all of them. And then I went ahead to cut a strip of about 60 inches length and then 4 inches wide. And then I sewed it together and left a space for the turning. I'll turn it and then iron it and then close the opening. And that's it for this short. Thank you. So here guys, the paper bag shorts is ready. Please like and share this video, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I love you for watching. Thank you.